What's up, everyone? Welcome to Backlog and Beyond, the podcast where we talk about the old video games we want to beat and the new ones we play instead. I'm your host, Jeff Zavatero.
And I'm your other host, Alex, and this is episode 39.
Woo! Yeah! 39. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on Twitch on the Adventure Hawkins Twitch channel, but you may be listening to us on your favorite podcast station or watching this on YouTube, so thank you guys so much for coming out. You may notice a different cast than usual. Most notably, Nathan is not here. He had a personal matter to attend to, so we pivoted, and we're bringing a new episode to you today. So today you have me and Alex, of course, and you also have Emily and Clay back again.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming out. How's your guys' week?
Good. Yeah.
I know this isn't in the script. I'm putting you on the spot.
I was gonna say, from what I'm supposed to read, I have nothing to say.
It's blank.
I've been doing.
I told you I couldn't do improv.
I've been doing. This is what I'm playing today.
No, it's I've been doing plug YouTube channels.
Text notes.
I'm doing this on my new computer, which has been running great until we tried to play a video game earlier.
It's the new
and
computer.
Then it just shut off at the end. But it's very pretty. I sent everyone pictures. I'm very proud
It
of it.
looked good.
Yes.
Thank you. I say proud of it, but I did nothing. Like I pulled it out of the box. My hand slipped on the styrofoam and it slammed on the floor. But it started okay.
Maybe that's why it doesn't work.
I know. It's like you dropped me.
Proud of pulling it out of the box.
We have a show for you, and Alex is our co-host because this show idea was her idea, and we loved it. And we attempted to give a new game an hour, not the pedestrian. That we're going to save that for when Nathan returns. We pivoted to the topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is our favorite board game video games. But first, let's talk about what we're playing. Emily, what are you playing this week?
This week I played some Fallout.
What?
The OG.
Not Fallout 4 or anything. Yeah, I got
original?
the original. I got it in high school. For Christmas, my mom went to Ross that year and picked out 3 games that she saw the Mac logo on. And Fallout happened to be one of them.
They had games at Ross?
Yeah, they did.
Mac games, that's crazy.
Right?
Wow.
I'm pretty sure she probably got the only 3 Mac games there that day. But I loved it and I never finished it. And so I decided to go back to it this week because it's on Steam and it was rough.
Doesn't hold up.
Not that well, but I'm going to stick with it at least for a while. I kind of just want to beat it because I played it so long ago.
Yeah.
And then the other game I played this week was Half Past Fate, which I did beat. The first game I beat this year.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
We bought it and beat it this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a very long game.
No, it was like
but it was very
3-4
cute
hours.
and very fun. It's like a cute little rom-com-y story type game. Good for Valentine's Day week.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I played a little Stardew.
Nice.
Cute.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you play this week?
Oh my gosh, you ready? All right,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I beat Marvel Spider-Man Remastered.
Yeah.
I adored it. It's in my top 10, like
Oh,
hands down. I would even say top 5, maybe.
Ooh.
I also, because we had the Ultimate Edition for Miles Morales, I started that, and
Yes.
I'm already about a quarter of the way through, and I just started it like 2-ish days ago.
Mhm.
So I can see what y'all meant with like
It
it's
moves
pretty
quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I am still working through Last of Us. I think I'm almost out of Pittsburgh, thank God, because I hate Pittsburgh. I've been working through the Final Fantasy VII remake. If you're on my Patreon, it is exclusive there. I just met Sephiroth. I think that's his name. No, I know that it's Sephiroth.
It's spelled Sephiroth.
Separiah.
Sephiroth, I think is his name, her name, long hair, super flowy. And then
Which is a
I've
hint.
also, what?
Fabulous.
And then I also got a copy of Mother 3, the fan translation. So I've been playing that on my Nintendo DS Lite. So that's been a lot of fun revisiting. It's been 10 years since I last played that game. So
Dang.
yeah.
I've never even heard of that. Is that like a DS like original?
Yeah, well, so it's like Earthbound, but it was only
Mm.
released in a Japanese translation, and it was so well received that the fans wanted to translate it to the English version, and it was re-released as like a fan special. And technically, like, you're not supposed to have it like in a cartridge because it's free, but
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
it hasn't, they haven't released anything else with it. So it's like, I can support Earthbound and them, but like, I also want my game. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna
Nice.
buy it. Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's what I've been doing this week.
That's super cool. Clay, I have an idea of what you've been playing, but why don't you talk about it?
So my notes
World
I
of
didn't write for
Warcraft.
myself. They said I started Marvel Spider-Man Remastered.
Yeah. Did
That's
you
cool.
were you
I'm,
able to avoid spoilers even though Alex was playing it?
Yeah, actually, I don't know any of like the big stuff. Like as I'm doing things, I'm like, oh, you had done this because she plays while I'm at work.
Okay.
So she would play for like 6 hours, and then I'd come in and see like, oh, you're collecting the black cats, and then like walk out of the room. And so some of the story beats I know, but I've been pretty unspoiled.
That's great. That's lucky.
Yeah, so like one of the characters I know like that their ulterior motives are existing. But besides that, yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's fun. I'm playing it in the fidelity mode, so
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
been cool. And I love just Alex hates the way I play because I take the pictures, and if so, like the picture with this camera, I'll be swinging and I'll like pull it up and like and like whenever it hits green, I'm mashing R1 until it goes, and I just keep swinging.
Oh,
and,
for the
like,
photo ops,
for
they're
the
all
photo
blurred.
ops.
And he like makes a comment saying like, this is like my best work. And I'm like, this is awful. It's a blurred
Meanwhile,
photo.
Alex would sit there and like, is this a good angle? And like
Frame
try to,
it,
like,
you know?
Oh, no,
Like
I
10
hated
minutes on
those.
each.
Yeah, I was just like, where is it? Where is it? Got it. Done. And then
Yeah,
leave.
exactly. I swing straight up, look, aim it, and I just mash R1 until I get a green one, and then I zip away.
That's the best way to do
it. And then I've been playing Hades. I beat it with all the weapons. And
Dang.
so now I'm doing the. Well, I'm not going to spoil the story for Jeff, but
Thank you.
there's they add something that lets you keep replaying, and it makes sense, and you can like add harder difficulty things to get the rewards again on a different playthrough, or on the same playthrough, but like you just keep fucking playing. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I
Like,
just love
how much
that.
time do you think you've put into it?
I'd say probably
A full year.
no. I've probably put in like 30 hours maybe.
Oh, okay.
Really? Only 30?
It feels, yeah.
Because I only play for like, let's say 40 hours.
Wait, we
'Cause-
need to connect your Nintendo account because it would tell you.
Because then I can check. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
play, because like the whole, since I've been back at work, I only play maybe 2 hours in the morning for like, but like when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima the last like week and a half, I didn't play any Hades. So it seems like I'm playing a lot, but I just play for like an 8 hour chunk and then I don't touch it for like a week.
Did you say an 8-hour chunk?
Yeah, I think you were trying to say 8 hour, but
Or 8 hours?
No,
it's an hour.
no, 8.
Oh, okay.
Ocho. 8 hours.
I play
yeah,
for like
no,
2
that's
runs and then I'm done like each time. That's why I don't get very far. It's like, to me, it's like a post game. Like I'll play through a large chunk of a story game and then I'll play that for like 1 or 2 runs.
See, it was opposite for me. I was like, I gotta grind through Ghost and then I'll reward myself with Hades.
Like, I just need to do this, kill some baddies
Yeah.
before I go to bed.
I've been playing those, so.
Awesome. I've been playing Hades as well. It said I did 16 runs so far, and according to Clay, that means I suck. So
Whoa, oh, she said that.
You didn't hear me? I was like,
No,
hey, by the way,
No,
Jeff.
I said 16 runs, and then the next part where I read it was that, I was like, oh, just trash. Like, I was like,
so by 16 runs, you think I should have been further by now?
I've done like 24 runs.
Oh no. How many major bosses are there?
4.
Okay, so I'm over halfway.
No. Yes, you are over.
Yeah, I was like, I beat two bosses, and the
Just
bowl is
straight
like
up, no.
the bowl is like midway between the second and third one.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I was feeling pretty good about that one.
No, I'm not trying to
don't
make you
listen.
feel
I'm
bad.
using the
Cut
spear.
that out, dude. Cut that out.
I'm using. No, like I think the first time I beat Megara, I just had really good luck with. I had like the 3 at the same time, and
okay.
I had like super speed, and then yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, for your first playthrough to like beat it, use the spear and use your special where you throw it, and there's one where if you throw it deflects.
Oh.
With Athena. So if you just keep throwing that, it just keeps coming back and forth, and you can deflect everything that's coming at you.
I don't use my special that often, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm more like mash, dive.
No, for sure. That or if you get Ares, the Doom proc,
Okay.
that does really good damage too.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll probably play
You
tonight.
got this, buddy. I want to see it. Happen.
Maybe I'll stream it at some point.
Ooh.
I also beat Half Fast Fate. I bought that game for me and Emily at the same time, and
Nice.
we're kind of playing it at the same time. And then I think she was like a chapter ahead of me, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna play a little bit tonight, and then I beat it. Like I got in bed at like 2, and I have to wake up for work at 5:30, and I'm like, I beat it.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's like,
You fool.
I know. It's on Switch, so there's like achievements, but they mean nothing because you don't even get anything on the Switch. So the next night I just went through, and it lets you go back to each of the 12 chapters and knock out
cool.
anything you didn't already do.
Nice.
It's really like you play as like 5 different characters, and all of their stories are separate, but they intertwine so that by the end of the story, everyone's met everyone.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And
Heavy
it's like
rain.
you're in
Kinda,
different times in the same timeline, so it'll say in the corner like 1 hour before or like 8 years before.
Yeah, and like chapter 12 is
So
the
you kind of
moment.
go back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
It's
need
very
to take
cute.
notes.
It's kind of like a puzzle thing. In,
I thought that too, but if you like do it in the course of a week, I would say you don't need notes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It holds your hand through everything. I would compare the gameplay to like a less cool To the Moon, which I'm gonna have
It kinda
Emily
sounds
play
like that.
next. Yeah, that's
that's a
like
good
the
one.
one I want her to play super bad. Great. So, and then I also the only game I really tried on my computer so far was Red Dead Redemption 2. I repurchased it for that, and I was able to play it at 1440p with over 60
Nice.
frames a second and 4K
So
with over
fancy.
30 frames a second. That was very exciting. Like I'm so stoked about it. I'm like maybe I can handle Cyberpunk, but I don't know if I want to commit the money to that.
Nathan's a part of the show after all. Red Dead Redemption 2 got mentioned.
Yeah.
It's so pretty though. Like I got stuck on photo mode. Like they don't have that on the consoles until they
no.
re-release it, I'm sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that is it for what we're playing this week. We're going to move on to the news, or any rumors we heard this week. For me, I have a couple of news points. Ratchet and Clank is Rift Apart is going to come out on June 11th, so it is not a launch window title like they suggested, and not even Q1. It's not until June, but I'm super stoked about it. And also, E3 has been confirmed as an all-digital event this year.
Oh boy.
Yep. I heard a rumor that it was going to be like $100,000 for a booth. And so that really or like a presentation, and that locks out anyone that isn't a major company. And all of these major companies are able to put on their own. So I don't know why they would go to E3 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's to make up for the lack of ticket attendance that they're going to be getting, or if they're going to
Maybe.
charge people to like watch it digitally.
It might be like a virtual like concert. You know?
Yeah. So maybe if everyone put in like $10, $15, and it maybe because I feel like you were able to watch it online anyway, so maybe
Yeah.
they could add special content or
Yeah,
like
and
a
I
Q&A.
feel like if they can charge for it, they can have way more attendees because you don't have to fly anywhere. There's not a physical limitation on how many people you can pack into the place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
At that point, I would just share my screen. Like, hey, let's all chip in for tickets, and then I'll just like share it on Discord.
Like a
Hey,
UFC fighter or something.
oh my god, they all listen and they're like, ban them for life.
It's just, it's so sad because E3 used to be like the thing, and now it's just
Aw.
such a joke.
I know, and like once like PlayStation and Rockstar started doing their own announcements and stuff, I'm like, what do I have to look forward to?
Right.
Yeah.
Or like they start announcing games like 5 years into the future. Like, why would you announce Elder Scrolls 6 already? Like, that's too far. You have nothing. And I just have to wait.
To like get a CG mountain and throw Elder Scrolls 6 on it, make it a forest and make it good.
Nice.
This isn't even a final logo. Don't even worry about that.
Right?
It says at the bottom, nothing final in this video.
Oh my god.
Not actual gameplay.
I love the
Don't
way
come for us.
I love the way Bethesda did it with like Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. Even though those weren't the best games, they're like, hey, we're making these games. By the way, they're coming out in 3 months. And I kind of wish some more, especially smaller titles, would do it that way. Like, I don't like the waiting game. Like, I don't, and plus they're all going to get delayed anyway if you set them that far out. They're like, this game's going to come out in 2023, and then you get there, it's like, 2024.
Halo's a launch title, folks. It's a launch title.
Poor Xbox crowd right now. Like, we still have Game Pass.
They're like, hey guys,
my
these
gosh.
360 games are great that I've been playing for the last 11 years.
We could still play Red Dead 1, can you?
Actually, I feel that in my heart.
I tried streaming that on PlayStation Now, and it stinks.
Oh, really?
It does.
I've looked at PlayStation Now, and I'm kind of like, my curiosity is piqued, and then I immediately unpeak it.
I get it. I got it when it went on sale for a year, so I can still play it. But really, the PlayStation 3 ones, because they can be streamed only, are much harder. We have good internet. We have like gigabit internet too,
Okay.
and I can't, like, especially Red Dead. I can't get that lag out of there, and I think it's just
Really?
because it's so graphically intensive. But that's like the one game, if I had an Xbox, that I would like to play. Because with the new computer, I could play almost any future Xbox exclusive, because I assume they're going to be in the Microsoft store.
Yeah.
Right.
But not Red Dead. Not Red Dead.
Never.
I feel like any of the big games like that too. Like, if you say Elder Scrolls 6 will be out in 3 months, the hype's going to be just as big as if you say it's out in 5 years. So I don't understand, like,
Yeah,
Yep.
and then I feel like
hey, it's coming, pre-order it today and you'll have it in 3 months. Wow.
yeah.
I know.
I feel like with some of the like big gaps between like announcement and release, you have like hype fatigue almost, you know?
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
We were so tired of
Yeah.
seeing like,
Oh my God, yeah.
another yellow screen, and it's like, oh God, what could this mean? They're delaying it again, and we know that they probably should have delayed it a
Yep.
little bit
Yeah.
longer.
It just felt like after waiting 7-8 years to wait another year felt so ridiculous, and it's still in the state it was. So we're probably gonna have to wait another year for it to be playable as is for everybody.
Patched up and
The game was
pretty.
announced before PS4 and Xbox Ones came out.
Was it really?
Oh my gosh,
Oh my God.
Sweet.
that's so weird to think about.
Oh.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh. Huh. Okay.
Fun fact. All right, Alex, do you have any news for the week?
I do. So February 21st of this year marks the 35th anniversary for The Legend of Zelda. Woo!
Woo!
We don't have anything from Nintendo yet. They have not officially announced anything regarding plans for this big anniversary. However, rumor has it that a recent patent was filed in Australia, suggesting that Nintendo plans to remaster, I guess, many of the games, including games like Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass for the Switch, which might be included in an anniversary collection, much like the 3D All-Stars that we saw with Super Mario. Both games with features that utilize DS Touch and the mic and others might make them difficult to port. So a lot of people are kind of on the fence with, is this going to happen or not?
Yeah.
So based on what was released for Super Mario Brothers, it's also speculated that there will be merch collabs with other brands, a re-release of other beloved Legend of Zelda games. And I was also seeing that fans online are aware that re-releases of games like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword might be happening. I'm personally really excited for this. I missed out on a lot of Legend of Zelda games growing up, so I think this would be really neat to kind of see them brought back to life on the Switch. So we'll see. We'll see.
I've never put more than an hour into a Legend of Zelda game, I'm being honest.
Ooh,
I
and
know,
I'm
like-
wearing my shirt
Wow.
too.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like-
my Breath of the Wild shirt.
I tried,
Nice.
what's the one on Nintendo 64?
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time. And I really couldn't get into it. I tried Breath of the Wild, and I felt overwhelmed, so I need to find something like right in the middle. And I think it was like a graphics thing for the Nintendo 64, and I hated the controller.
Yeah,
So it
the
was a bad
controller was kind of
combination.
hard.
Yeah, I do not like the Nintendo 64 in general. But
That's fair.
I would be interested in playing all of these games if re-released on the Switch, even more so than the Mario one. Like, I'm still on the fence if I'm going to pick up Mario 3D All-Stars. But I would definitely pick up if they did Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, and Skyward Sword, those kind of games. I'd pick those up for sure.
Well, you better decide before March.
I know.
That's when it goes away.
That's how they get you. But there are ways on the internet. But there's a convenience of the Switch to play those games. So
True.
I just bought a whole bunch of video games, so it's hard to justify buying anymore right now.
That's true.
Yeah. Emily, do you have any news?
Yes. They announced a couple casting choices for The Last of Us, the HBO show. Pedro Pascal, aka The Mandalorian, is gonna be Joel. Very exciting. I love Pedro Pascal. And then
Amazing.
Lady Mormont herself, Bella Ramsey. She was so awesome in Game of Thrones, and she's going to play Ellie. And I looked her up on IMDb today, and she's been in a lot of stuff, including His Dark Materials, another HBO show, which I have embarrassingly not finished. The books are like my favorite. I like them better than Harry Potter.
Wow.
Yeah. I love The Golden Compass. So I need to finish that show. But yeah, she was in that too. So that's very exciting.
Awesome. They had rumors of a different actor. I was trying to look up who it was, but the internet was mad because he was an African-American actor, and people were losing their minds.
Oh my
I
god.
thought I saw that they were changing.
Yeah, it's like
gender
Mahershala
or,
Ali. I'm probably butchering his first name.
He's gonna be Blade.
Yes, yeah, the guy
Yeah.
he was 2 hours before they announced Pedro Pascal. The rumor came out that it was going to be him, and people lost their minds.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
they're like,
People
"That's
are
not my
disappointing.
Joel." It was disgusting reading all the comments on Reddit about it. Like,
Ugh.
oh,
He would have been awesome too.
he would have, and it's like I don't think it needs to be a one-for-one image of the same person. Like, people were wanting Hugh Jackman, A, because he's a stellar actor, but B, if his Logan beard looks just like Joel.
Yeah.
And so I could see the resemblance, but I am excited to see the interpretation.
I feel like if they were making Last of Us 2 now, Hugh Jackman would be a good choice.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's not even that old. But I feel like he's a little old for Last of Us 1 Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he definitely would have fit, I think, better in 2.
Yeah.
And it kind of, the story feels similar in shape to Logan, so it'd be kind of like he was making the same movie.
True.
Or so again,
Oh,
like-
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if they cast X-23 as Ellie, I would watch it again. I'm not like,
Yes.
and they should have a scene. Is it like he's not Wolverine, he's Joel, but like they get into a fight and he's like, oh, like, I don't have the claws. Super upset.
Because like that, and like looks at his knuckles like.
Oh my god.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That would be very funny.
Great. Clay, did you bring us any news?
I am gonna piggyback off of Alex's a little bit.
How dare you?
Emily, have
Go
you
get your
played
own.
any Zelda games?
I have not.
Okay,
I
Don't worry.
appreciate them, but I have not played any.
got you. Alrighty, don't worry, Zelda fans. Daddy's coming in the house because I
Oh
freaking
my
love Legend of
goodness.
Zelda.
Oh, I'm only gonna call you Daddy from now on.
There
Hey,
you go.
watch it. Watch it. I'll fight you, Jeff.
I'm super excited. Nintendo actually did a trademark, not for the renewal for Ocarina of Time, but an actually new entry. So they have the old, like Ocarina of Time, Nintendo 64 and 3DS version, and then they have a new patent for unannounced Ocarina of Time kind of
Ooh.
Switch related thing. So that's kind of neat. And then I was also seeing that they might do two, if they do game bundles. People are sleuthing online and saying that it would probably be Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and then another one of the 3D titles, and then they would do Spirit Tracks Phantom Hourglass,
Hourglass.
Oh.
and A Link
Minish
Between
Cap?
Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Or Minish Cap.
Mhm.
But there's a lot they could do. There's a lot of games that could use. I would freaking love Ocarina of Time with Breath of the Wild's engine.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that would be so sick. And
I
then,
think,
or just,
yeah.
bundle that
I have a
in
question for
Majora's
you,
Mask. Go
Clay.
ahead.
What do you think that third game is going to be with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, based on what you know of Legend of Zelda?
It depends. They could throw in the one that would make sense with the stories if they threw in Twilight Princess.
Okay.
Just because Twilight Princess calls back to Ocarina of Time. So I won't spoil it. But yeah, so they could do that. But I'm stoked. We got supposedly Direct's actually supposed to be happening on the 18th for the
Oh
anniversary.
my gosh.
So 5
They're going
days
to drop
away.
it on us.
If they announce something, I'll be picking it up. The 25th anniversary had that freaking sweet black and gold 3DS. With had like the black and then the silver inlay and then the Triforce, and it had Majora's Mask. It had all the masks in the corner of the 3DS. So that was cool. But they always, for some reason, for their 5 anniversaries, Nintendo always goes hards, and their 0 anniversaries.
Yeah.
Like,
Five just
here's a
looks better
Mario
than
pin.
0.
And then 35, they're like, here's all this stuff. Wow, it's Mario.
For my fantasy draft, I'm really hoping for a Breath of the Wild 2 announcement. But
Yeah, I
Oh,
bet you
that's
are.
right.
No. Well, if they're going to announce remakes, but remakes we could draft, but we would have to
Yes.
bid on them.
And there's also a Switch Pro kind of patent, kind of rumor,
Yeah.
but it's almost confirmed. And
Oh,
people were
that's
saying that
right.
Breath of the Wild 2 could be a Switch
Like a launch
Pro
title.
Launch title.
Ooh,
I did
with it?
hear-
Switch 2
Ooh.
launch
I did
title.
hear that they came out and said, like, don't expect one this year. But,
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
I know. Or, like, they said anytime soon. So I don't know if
Oh.
anytime soon means this
But
year.
how sick was it when they showed the Breath of the Wild trailer and it said launching with Nintendo Switch on March? Well, like they gave an
Oh my
actual
gosh,
date for that first trailer that
yes.
came after.
I'm sure
when
it
the
felt
Switch
just
was
as
finally
good
made.
as the Halo Infinite one, too. They're like, with
But
the
it actually
Xbox?
happened.
But you can trust Nintendo to actually do it.
But we actually went to Best Buy that night and picked up both at the same time.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah. But yeah, I'm
That
really,
was fun.
I'm
That
freaking,
was fun.
yeah, it was. Zelda's like I love Ocarina of Time. So
Yeah.
if we get anything involving Ocarina of Time, game over for me. That's
If they remade it, I would definitely play it again because I think the visuals and like the awkwardness of the camera and everything was what was holding me back.
Do you have a 3D or do you have a 3DS?
I have a 2DS.
2DS? The remake on there is actually really good and
Okay.
is really modernized.
Maybe I'll check it out, or maybe I could play it on the computer.
It's super cute.
Well, if you
I
play it
love
on the
the
computer, I
graphics.
found there's a 4K texture pack that makes it look freaking sweet. I'll send you the video after.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Play it on your computer.
Just to look at. We're
Ooh.
not going to do
Yeah,
anything.
just to look at.
illegally.
Oh,
Great.
yeah,
So
no,
I'm excited for that.
We'll also buy it because we want to own the game.
Yes, we're gonna
And support.
We're gonna
And support.
buy it.
But I had the video of it, and I was like, Alex, look at this. Look at this Majora's Mask texture
Just
pack.
like that. He sounded just like that. I'm like, who are you? Who is this man?
But yeah, sorry.
great.
I always rant when I talk, so go ahead.
It's okay.
I mean, it's better than me going, and so, we're gonna move on. And then
Okay,
I
you're
stop.
doing great, Jeff.
Thank
you're doing
you,
great.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You got this,
You're
buddy.
welcome.
All right, so we're going to move on to retrospect for February. These are the games that have come out around February in years past. And we're going to have Emily start with the first one, the 5th anniversary.
Of one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley. So when looking through trash, it's possible to find a broken CD with the description, it's a JojoNet 2.0 trial CD. They must have made 1 billion of these things, just like AOL did in real life. You guys remember those? Are you guys
my
old enough
gosh.
to remember
I
those?
was
I
five,
remembered
so-
AOL.
Oh,
Like,
I
after,
like,
yeah.
it felt like every magazine you bought came with the free disc.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh, that's right.
It was like-
And
I
that
had
would
so
come in
many
the
in
mail.
Yeah.
I actually, for a while when I was like a freshman in high school, I saved a bunch of them and made like an art piece of the not the AOL side, but yeah, like on my wall.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Keep it,
Okay.
but I
Aw.
finally found a use for all those. buttons.
That's
I like-
cool.
They're like, someone's really liking AOL.
Let's keep making more.
You got one person buying them all.
I wonder how many of those they made.
Like, actually? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably
well into the
somewhere.
millions.
Maybe
Oh,
there's like a
yeah.
landfill
The
like ET where
billions.
Oh, I know.
Oh my god, yes. That's sad.
Multiple landfills.
Yikes.
That I saw a comic. It was like when someone uses AOL as a search engine, like the corporate office is like, "Sir, we got one," and everyone high fives and corporate buys pizza for everybody.
I mean, I
Tacos
did
in the bin.
absolutely use AOL Instant Messenger, which is
Oh, I use
now
that
no longer
all
in
the time.
existence.
Oh, good.
I used that long after I was done with my AOL email address.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah, because I liked AIM.
Yeah, AIM.
Yeah.
AOL
yeah,
Instant Messenger.
Oh, I would like
Iconic.
I would
Yeah.
stress forever about my away message.
Oh my god, me
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh,
I typed up
yeah.
like away messages that were like emo lyrics, like "My crush will see this." Surely he'll think it's him.
Or I do like sad ones. I'm like, someone will notice and they'll ask, and it'd be like
Nobody
the same
ever
friends
did.
as always. And I'm like, not
Are you
you.
okay?
Leave me alone. Or like my mom would see it on my computer. And she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm fine. It's just a song lyric.
I'm fine, Mom.
Stop asking. Close my
Oh,
door when you leave.
don't go in my room. The good old days. Clay, why don't you read us the 10th anniversary?
All right. 10th anniversary is Killzone 3 for PlayStation 3. I didn't play Killzone 3, but I played Shadowfall, and I kind of like that. But the fact of the day, Walmart hosted a midnight launch event. The first 20 players who purchased Killzone 3 received a limited edition Killzone 3 poster and a voucher for the retro map pack. Select Walmart stores also hosted tournaments where players could win a copy of Killzone 3, a limited edition cloaking Hellgast marksman action figure, and collectible Killzone 3 bags.
Ooh.
Nathan
That's
really
a lot
must
of
have been
swag.
stretching for fun facts for me.
I mean, it's kind of neat
Honest-
because
That is pretty. It's pretty cool. Walmart had tournaments. That's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's weird to think about, but
I
good
did
for
some
them.
GameStop tournaments for games in the past until the state we live in was like, hey, something about competitions where you can't enter without like having a
yeah.
contract with the state and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of killed those. And that kind of killed our midnight launches at, at our GameStop. So
Those were so much fun too.
We did. I worked at Blockbuster, and we did one midnight launch. It wasn't for a game. It was for Twilight.
Nice.
Oh my god.
And we got it. I think it was a Tuesday release, and we got it on Monday, and we played it on all of our TVs. And people like brought sleeping bags, and they just laid in our aisles and watched
Nice.
Twilight.
Oh my god.
It was actually kind of
That's
fun. Like I was like, this doesn't suck. Awesome.
But you know who does suck?
Who?
Vampires.
Nice.
Alex, why don't you go for the 30th anniversary?
Sure. So the 30th anniversary, we have Street Fighter 2. The team originally wanted to give the AI the ability to change its tactics depending on who it was fighting against, such as the computer knowing how close to stand to each individual opponent, etc. This feature was removed due to time constraints. That blows my mind.
That's crazy. Like to come up 30 years ago to
Yes,
like
yeah.
for them to
Yes,
be
that's
able to have that
so
technology.
Ahead of its time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. At one point, the development team wanted to implement pressure-sensitive buttons similar to those found in certain cabinets of the original Street Fighter, but they decided to go with a 6-button layout because that was the kind of arcade machine that was available to them.
Hmm.
Also kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty ahead of their time, like
Oh, yeah.
conceptually.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
yeah, because you imagine how mad people would have been to arcades if it's like a soft press of the button is light punch and a hard press
Oh
is
my gosh,
and
right?
kids just
Yeah.
break like from so much use that you just can't do light punches anymore. 'Cause
Yeah,
all
it doesn't
the-
register anymore.
All right, and then we're gonna. Wow, he really overloaded this one. It's a lot. The 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, as we were talking about earlier, came out for the NES. Do some quick math here. That was 1986.
Dang.
Crazy. That's a quick reminder that Emily's turning 35 this year.
Oh, the year I
She's
was
older
born.
than me. Fun facts for
Shut
this
your
game.
dirty mouth.
Fun facts for Legend of Zelda. This was the first home console game to use an internal battery and RAM to allow the player to save data.
I love that.
I was wondering when the first one let you save on the cartridge, because like I remember starting over Mario so many times. But I didn't remember if it was an issue of not being able to save. Like, was I supposed to beat it in one sitting? Like, I don't know. Next fun fact, former Nintendo of America president Minoru Arakawa was hesitant about releasing The Legend of Zelda in the United States as he wasn't sure Americans would have enough patience to understand the game. The following is an excerpt from The Ultimate History of Video Games by Stephen Kent. When the first prototypes of The Legend of Zelda arrived in the United States, Arakawa was not sure how people would respond to a complex game with text windows in it. He worries that perhaps the game was too complicated for American audiences. To test this out, he had several employees try the game in order to give the game a fair chance. Arakawa arranged for Japanese-speaking workers to sit with American employees and translate any kanji that appeared in the text boxes.
That was nice.
It was all in Japanese, which made it really hard to play, but it was just so compelling that we kept playing and playing it. The way the game mechanics worked, the fact that it did this great thing with that sword, it had great mechanics, typical of Miyamoto. It had puzzles. You would come across things that would be on the island or behind a door or whatever, and you could see them, but you couldn't have them. Howard Phillips. As he tested The Legend of Zelda on his employees, Arakawa noticed a disturbing trend. Most American workers who played the game did not warm up instantly. They all ended up giving the game high marks, but Arakawa noticed that some people needed as much as 10 hours before they understood the game and enjoyed it. That is interesting. That was worth the read. Good job, Nathan.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Honestly, that might have been what turned me off as a kid, though. I was just too young.
All the text and all the reading.
Yeah.
Well, the first Zelda's not
I wanted to read. I would
friendly
pick
at
up a
all.
book.
Right.
It's not user friendly at all. It's like Breath of the Wild in the sense that it's open, so you can go to any dungeon in any order. And so if you have like a first game of its kind and then drop that, it's like, what do I do on Mario?
Where do I
Yeah.
go? Yeah, it's not linear.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways that you can go, and like you were saying, Clay, it's so ahead of its time that people don't know what to expect. And we know how to do that now because we've had people before us that like have kind of paved that way.
Yeah.
So, gosh, to be like the founding fathers, so to say, of that, it's like, good job. You were the first guinea pigs that made this all possible.
Plus, like those test players had to like have someone sit with them and translate all the text from Japanese.
That's pretty dope, though. Like for them to
Yeah.
assign Japanese-speaking people to translate, like, wow, they really wanted to give it a chance.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So last fun fact, in an interview between Miyamoto and Game Cult, Miyamoto revealed that at the start of The Legend of Zelda's development, the pieces of the Triforce were actually intended to be electronic chips. The game was set to be set in both the past and the future, and the hero was the link between them. So they decided to call him Link.
I see what they did there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously that's the big one, 35 years ago. Honorable mentions, 10th anniversary, the Nintendo 3DS was released in Japan. 15 years ago, Dungeons & Dragons Online. Black came out, State of Emergency 2, and Sonic Riders.
Oh, I love Sonic Riders.
Oh, I was about to say, that doesn't deserve honorable mention, but
I'll see myself out.
it apparently did. That's, what did that come out for?
It wasn't the GameCube,
360.
was it? Was it the 360?
Mm-hmm.
Man, Sega's been everywhere.
That's what Abram played it on. My brother. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
25 years ago, Civilization 2 came out. 30 years ago, Lemmings came out and ID Software was formed. 35 years ago, Famicom Disk System was released in Japan. Never heard of that. And then 40 years ago, Defender and Scramble came out for the arcades.
Dang.
Nice. And I'm sorry, Sonic Riders fans. It was GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox.
I said
And then the next one was-
GameCube, and you said it so
fool.
confidently that I was just like, oh, surely he's right. I hate that. I hate that.
What did he say earlier was fluent in Spanish, and he just did it so confidently that I just bought it.
It was like
Yes.
Fluentes.
Fluentes. Ugh.
It sounds like it's clear that you understand some Spanish to know to put like the entes in there. You got me. Great. We're going to move on to our main topic, which Alex is going to walk us through because it was her idea.
Yeah, so I had shared with the group, I had gotten this idea because Emily was like, hey, I picked up this really neat board game. And I was like, I have never heard of this board game. And board games take me back to like family game nights, family movie nights, where we would just all unplug and sit around and watch or play through a game together. So we wanted to kind of approach this episode with, I guess, revisiting board games digitally and see how well they translated towards the games that we remembered growing up. So one of the first questions that we have here is, what was your favorite board game or card game as a child? Does anybody want to go first?
I will.
Okay, cool.
I really enjoyed the game of life. It was really simple, and it was like the only competitiveness you had was down to the choices that you made earlier in the game. Like it felt less stressful than Monopoly, but like it's like, hey, do you want to go to college or start working? You met someone, you're gonna get married. Like it just felt so like positive the entire time you played the game, and at the end it was just like, how much. Of course, it was like, how much money did you end up with?
Yeah,
That determines your success.
that was the kicker.
Yeah.
Like you had 6 kids and they all lived to be 100, but you only made $300,000 in your lifetime unless you fail. But I just remember having so much fun playing that, and it like there wasn't really any hardcore competitiveness with me or my friends or family when playing that game, and I have a soft spot for it, so that's my choice.
Can I comment on that? I
Yeah.
think you brought up a really beautiful point in that like the only competition that you experienced was with yourself, and very much like life, like it's just a competition with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you compare your life to what other people are dealing with, you're always going to be unhappy and looking for that next thing. So the fact that it's like you made that realization as a kid, I think that's what that was intended. You know, you just stay in your lane and you work hard, and then how much money did you get at the end? It's like,
Yeah.
damn it. I didn't work as hard as I could have. I went to college. I could have started working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But I still
cool.
had fun along the way.
I love
There you go.
that. Yay. Clay, do you want to go next?
Sure. Mine's not a board game or a card game. Mine was a word game. Boggle with my mom, my aunt.
Aw.
Anytime we went to my aunt's house, I was older, so all the other kids would go to sleep, and they'd be like, all right, Clay, you going to try and beat us at Boggle this time? And so I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so they would just, like, I got better as I got older, but, like, they would always just dump on me, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And my aunt would be, like, sitting there drinking wine, and my mom would just be laughing at, like, me trying to, like, struggle to get words. But,
Aw.
yeah, we played a lot of Boggle for me growing up. So that's my favorite memory for a board game kind of like that. So.
Oh, cute.
How about you, Emily?
I played a lot of like the classic games growing up, like Life. We had Life and we had Clue, and Monopoly. But then I think my first like really memorable experience with a game was in high school. I got the SpongeBob Uno for Christmas. And my friends and I just started playing it at lunch, and we played almost every day for months, and we got really competitive.
Oh my gosh.
And I still have it. And then like a couple years ago, I babysat like a 5th grader, and I brought my SpongeBob Uno on the first day, and he was like, you have SpongeBob Uno? And he was so excited. And that's how we started every day, was with SpongeBob Uno.
Oh.
I love that.
So, and now I collect Uno. I have well over a dozen different decks.
Really?
Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
Uno is definitely one of my favorites.
I think one of my favorite, like we went to Barnes & Noble and they had a Braille deck.
Yeah, we just got that a
Yep.
couple months ago.
Yeah, that was super
That's
exciting
awesome.
to find. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I'm
one
just
of my
looking
other
at-
favorites that I got recently is Uno corns.
What? What?
Like unicorns.
Like,
Oh!
yeah, it's unicorns.
I'm like,
but it's
corn?
Uno corns.
One corn? That
Corns
doesn't
on
make
the
sense. Oh my god. Oh, that's a good answer. I would have to say ditto. Like I grew up with the classics too. I remembered we would go camping and we would always bring like board games, and like Yahtzee was one of them. What was it? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. It wasn't Go Fish. It was Skip-Bo. Skip-Bo was another one that, and it's funny because I always remembered having to relearn how to play like Skip-Bo and Yahtzee. But once we got the hang of it after a few rounds, we were all just kind of sitting around the campfire and just going to town on Yahtzee. But I think as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated the less like competitive games and more of the interactive ones, like the headbands. We had the Disney headbands. Yeah. I think when it was my 21st birthday, we had all like just gotten drunk and just were doing the Disney headbands, and I remembered putting it on my card backwards, and I only knew that I had put it on backwards with like the logo facing out because my mom's like, Alex, you need to turn around. I'm like, oh, I do? Okay. So I would turn it around. But yeah, I think just those interactive games where you're just having fun and just riffing off of one another are like my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, good answers. Let's see. The next question we have is, have there been any moments in these types of games that you almost lost a friend or family member over an argument involving a board or card game? Clay, do you want to go first?
I was just a salty little kid playing Boggle because I would try, but my aunt was a teacher, so she's just like rattling off words. She's like, and I'm like, you guys can't see, but I'm like drawing.
I appreciate that you're putting the sound effect to it, so like you can almost like you're listening to it, you can feel it.
Yeah. If you close your eyes.
Is this ASMR?
That's a terrifying answer.
Instead of just
oh my God.
connecting Boggle sounds. But yeah, I hate. I don't mind losing. I hate getting embarrassed because I did something wrong. So like if I get an answer wrong and I was so confident that I got it wrong, I don't get like mad that I lost. I get embarrassed that I said the wrong thing and then people laughed at that. So like games like that I just never really like got into. Kind of like how Alex's family is like, oh, like we played this guessing game. I'm like, I hate stuff like that because if I don't describe it and they're like, why didn't you just say this? Like, I'm like, oh, why didn't I say that? What? So, but yeah, I was just, I like games like that, but I don't like guessing games and stuff, which is why I'm a horrible guesser on Video Game 10 though.
Unrelated to video games, I would go, when I was a kid, go visit my little brothers in Sacramento. And the youngest, Ryan, whenever they would drive us back to meet my parents, we would do the alphabet game in the car where you tried to find a sign with each subsequent letter of the alphabet. And before this 40-minute drive, we would try to get to Z. And we'd always get stuck on letters like J and K and like Q. And so we'd go like, what words start with Q? And we're like, quick, quiet. And Ryan, 5 years old, goes, Cuba. And like we laugh hysterically, but he was so more like terrified that he said the wrong thing that he just started bawling. Like he put his head in his eyes and he started crying, and then like 5 minutes later we're like, hey, bye. And like I've never let go of the shame of laughing at him in that moment.
Oh. Did you ever tell him?
Actually,
that was super clever.
We were brothers. I would mostly just give him shit for it, but I would still feel bad about it.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite memories of going back in the car like that. So I definitely know the experience of just being afraid of being wrong.
Yeah,
especially when you're a kid playing with adults. You want to appear like strong.
I know, like at the time, like I was 8 years older than him, so like I was like he said the wrong thing in front of his 13-year-old big brher, and he was so ashamed of him. I felt so bad.
Poor kid.
I even think in a moment I'm like, if you shaved your head, we can call you Cue Ball.
Oh my god. Damn.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So who's next?
Emily, I guess.
Yeah. So I also, like, I am generally not super competitive. I have my moments. But like with a lot of the games that I like to play now, Like Talisman, a lot of them, even though they're awesome and I love them, have like really complicated instructions. And like we got this really awesome game called Mysterium. I think that's what it was. Jeff might correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But we brought it over to our friend before quarantine, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, we got this cool game. No, it was Betrayal at House on a Hill.
Yes, thank you.
And we were like, we got this cool game and we think you like it. We played it once and like we opened it and we hadn't popped out any of the tokens and we were trying to read the directions and we were like, we don't know how to play this game. And like our friend is like, so he's like, he was like, went to the garage and he's like, here, you can have these little baggies for these tokens. And we ended up not playing it because we're not prepared. So like, I always, whenever we pull out a game like that, and I had a little bit of this when we were like going to play Talisman, I was a little bit apprehensive. Like, what if it's complicated and it's all wrong and I suggested it?
Should play Uno.
Or like, we shouldn't have played this up in advance, you know? So, yeah. That's my biggest fear. Not losing a friend or family member to competitiveness, but just like not knowing how to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have to say, similarly, I kind of fall into that category too. I get so frustrated for a lot of reasons. I have a very short attention span when it comes to very complex board games. And so when we're all breaking open this new game and we're trying to like read the instructions and everybody has a different interpretation of it, like my dad's saying something different, I'm saying something different, my mom's just like, I'm gonna go make popcorn, and like, you know, we're all like doing our own thing. It's like, I don't even want to play. It's already been an hour trying to figure it out. I definitely get that. But I also think like as far as arguments and stuff go, I get very ugly and competitive with Uno. Like, oh, no. I have not talked to Clay. Stop, Clay. What? Not you. But I think one evening I didn't talk to him. I was so mad that he kicked my ass. But it was like the back-to-back, like draw four, reverse, skip. And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
It was in public too.
Oh my God, it was. Oh, yes. So I couldn't like murder him. You know, I had to wait until we were like back at our house. Anyways, but yeah, it's tough, but I try my best to be like, I'm really sorry. That was the what is it, Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde back and forth coming out, because I'm a Gemini. That's a joke that my mom makes. She's like, are you Hyde or Jekyll today? I'm like, you want to find out?
Well, now I'm Hyde.
You brought this from me. But yeah, I think, you know, like you were saying, Emily, just those really ridiculously long instructions that you're like, I don't have time for this. Give me the quick and dirty. Give me, you know, and then especially with Uno, everybody has their own way of playing it. Like when you draw four, that's your turn. But some people, when they draw four, they like keep going. And I'm like, wait a second. How are we playing? So we have to set the rules in place before we start playing, so we're not all like killing each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Halfway through. But cool. Let's see. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to share, like, the hardest thing for me was my dad and my aunt, his sister, are very competitive when it comes to games. Not a board game, but there was a typing game in particular, and it was in my grandma's office on her second computer. It was like Falling Letters, and I got really into trying to beat my score, and I was like single pressing keys at the time. But then like my dad and my aunt got into the game and they wiped my score, all of them, off of the top 10. And all I remember was going into my dad's office and be like, you deleted it. I worked really hard to play the game and I didn't even get my name on it. And like I didn't even finish my sentence and I like stormed out of the room. And that would carry over to any game we played with him, like Monopoly in particular. Like I feel like I would like get pieces here and there, and they would dominate the board, and it would be left to them too. And I'm like, why are we still playing?
Can I go to sleep now?
They're like, shut up, you owe me $400.
Oh no.
But yeah, so Monopoly has a sore spot for me, but I still collect the special editions because they suckered me. They got me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, get this limited edition silver Monopoly, and you're like, I have to have it. And then you
Pokemon
never open
Kanto.
it.
Okay.
Oh my God, yes. Cool. All right. Thanks for adding that. I know we normally don't acknowledge chat, but Sir Humps in chat said Monopoly is currently a banned family game. Setting healthy boundaries. I love it. Cool. What board or card game for videos did you enjoy the most?
Is that
What's up?
Who's starting?
Let's start with Emily.
okay? Does that mean for videos?
Like
Is that
video game,
for video
video game
games?
board games.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's
thanks
what
for
I
clarifying.
thought. I don't know. I actually have not played a ton, but Jeff and I did play Ticket to Ride on mobile,
Oh, okay.
and that was really fun. That's a game that like I don't think I currently own it, but I did own it at one point and just never got around to playing it.
Mhm.
And I think that's another one where you like kind of have to learn the rules, like not as complicated as some games, but like complicated enough to make me just like not get around to it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We've played Clue also, I
Yeah.
think. And that one was okay. But I'm just and then Words with Friends /
Yeah.
Scrabble. I do really
Yes.
I don't play it right now. Jeff still plays because it just like I was like playing it all the time, constantly.
Uh-huh.
And I needed to stop for my mental health.
Oh.
But that was another favorite game of mine growing up. And like it's nice with Words with Friends because like you can just mess around with the letters until it says yes, that's a real word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just keep hitting like the random or
Yeah.
scramble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You don't need a
Cool.
dictionary. You just keep trying until one works. That's my
Yep.
favorite
It's
part.
like
about it.
hours later.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And like
I got a radar and it shows you where all your possible moves can be, and I'm playing against someone right now. It's like you can get to the triple word, and I have a blank tile, so I'm just trying out every possibility
Oh
to
my
get
God,
to the triple
Oh
yes.
word.
my God. They
Yeah.
all stumble upon the podcast and they're like, that guy. I'm playing against him. Oh man, that's too funny. Clay, how about you? What board or card games for, I guess, video games did you enjoy the most?
I like
If you had
Hearthstone.
any. Oh
If you
yeah.
kind of want to count that as a board game card game.
I think so.
That and I've played, Words with Friends and stuff like that, or Boggle Online isn't as much fun. But yeah, Words with Friends I like. I think it translates really well.
Yeah.
Any of the drawing games, like any guessing games, like Pictionary and stuff like that, or a lot of good mobile experiences actually for the classic kind of Uno,
Yeah,
Yahtzee,
yeah,
Boggle,
yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, if we're talking about like board games, like card games and stuff, I play a little bit of Gwent and Hearthstone. I'll pick up really heavy for like a month and then not play it for like 7 months. So.
I can vouch for that. Awesome. How about you, Jeff?
Mine are kind of similar to those answers. Words with Friends is obviously the one I spend the most time on. Like, probably have hundreds of hours because you could just play it in passing. Like, digital games, especially when it's turn-based like that, on your cell phone, you could spend as much time as you want playing that game, and it's nice to just play in passing. I really enjoyed Mysterium. I really like the Steam game. And it's really nice that it's there to walk you through the game, especially for a game that has some complicated rules that if you're not good at like reading and retaining long form rules like that, it's really
Yes.
nice to have that experience of letting it do it for you, or having the single player mode so I could learn it and then I could pass it on to somebody else. In terms of like other video games, like the Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy Color, they did it was just Pokemon trading card game instead of Pokemon.
Oh my gosh.
And I played so much of that game. Like, I think I beat that game faster than I beat the mainline games. I had so much fun with it.
I
But
actually love that Pokemon trading card
it
game.
was so good.
It's
Like,
so good. The music too is so good on it.
Yeah, if they re-released that, I would be so down. But it's for some reason I can't get into actually playing the Pokemon trading card game in person with friends. Like I just like collecting them and looking at them. We have a big box of them, but I have never,
Yes, we do.
I have not once used them for the intended purpose of battling other people. Like they used to have like tournaments for that. It was a big
Yeah.
deal.
When I was little, my brother and I didn't know how to play, so we made up our own rules.
Yes, that's the best.
Awesome.
You saying that, Jeff, reminded
Yeah, so we
me.
couldn't look up how to play.
I love that.
You saying that, Jeff, reminded me. I got wiped in the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh my
A
god.
trading card game in real life, but I freaking love the PlayStation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Primitive Memories game so much. I love that game, and I still, to this day, there's people do like 17-hour speed runs,
Oh
and
my
I'll go to
God.
Twitch and just watch those because just like the background
Oh my
noises
God.
are so nostalgic to just hear. Like,
Aw.
That's amazing.
but yeah, when you mentioned the Pokemon game, I was like, wait a second, video games are Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that.
There's a card game. I played that.
Nice. That's
Thank you
cool.
for that.
Oh, he like unlocked this like deep memory.
Yeah.
That's pretty legit. Yeah, I would have to go. I didn't really get into Words with Friends as much. I guess I didn't really know about the randomize or scramble feature. Because I was just like, I don't know. I gotta go find my dictionary. I gotta, dust it off and crack it open. But I really got into Draw Something. I know what was
I played that
the
one
company again?
Zynga?
Zynga?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like the dog or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, oh my gosh. And I like that turn-based option that you were talking about, Jeff, where you can like draw something and then walk away and then come back and then will have guessed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they draw something. And it's really nice because you don't have to sit there for hours and hours and play with strangers, but at your own pace. I thought that was pretty neat. And they made it for great, like passive, fun little games when, we were young and, dumb kids, or, when we were like long distance for a bit. It was really fun to just, open up Discord and draw something and like laugh at like how long it took for me to guess something that Clay drew terribly, might I add.
What the?
But we even had this really, I think it was called jigsawpuzzles.io, and you could work together to like put together
Oh, cute.
puzzles. Yeah. And I was always whipping his ass because I would start the game and then he's like, I'm loading in, and I had like faster internet, so by the time he jumped in, I would have already gotten like a score of like 100. And he's like, wait, you gotta wait for me. So those were always fun. Cool.
That
And I
reminds
guess-
me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go.
At the beginning of quarantine, Cards Against Humanity dropped their game so that you could play it online with friends.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they took it away, but the Side Night and Happiness people are still up on that website. Like, they have 2 games that you can play on there.
Mhm.
But there's another one, badcards.io, and that's like a Cards Against Humanity ripoff that you could still go on and play with friends. And that one's actually really fun as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to play that.
I'm super down.
Yes. Cool. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I was always like looking for an alternative online. So that might be one I have to write down.
Yeah.
Cool. The last question is, were there any that weren't good? And I guess we kind of already touched on it, but were there any that you're just like, I will never be touching this again? It's banned in our house. Any like that? For anybody?
I have one that I like to play.
Hmm.
I like to play Trivia Crack.
I was just gonna say my mom loves trivia.
I love Trivia Crack, and I'm pretty good at it. Like, even the subjects I'm not good at, I'm pretty good at guessing like the correct one.
Yes.
I played it with
Process of
Emily,
elimination.
and I played it with our friend Ara, who we've been hanging out with like digitally on quarantine a lot, and they were both like, I am done with this game.
That's
And at the-
another game that like I would play and I would start new games with strangers,
Yeah.
and none of my games were like ready because I was like, I have to keep playing, and I had to stop. I stopped that one way sooner than Wars with Friends, but I would just play like compulsively. It was bad.
And
Yeah.
burnout.
Like,
Although I was terrible at sports.
I was terrible at Words with Friends, so this was like they would beat me in Words with Friends, and then I'd win Trivia Crack. And I'm like,
Nice.
great. It's like we're both good at something, and they're like, I don't want to keep playing that one. Guess
They
we'll just keep
exclusively-
playing the game I suck at.
Yeah, they only do their turns on Words with Friends, and then you're like, hey, you haven't touched Trivia Crack in 3 weeks, but you've played
No, right?
rounds of Word with Friends.
That's too funny.
I don't know if there's a game in particular, like digitally, that I wouldn't want. Maybe Talisman.
Yeah, maybe.
No, honestly, it was fun. Like the we'll talk about it in a minute. It was. I think
Yeah.
if we didn't have technical issues, it would be
Yeah,
much
and
more
time
fun.
crunch.
Really,
Yeah.
like, made it hard to enjoy.
Yeah. We're still considering if we're going to post that one for everyone to see. I think we should. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
blooper.
I'll send it to
reel.
Nathan and we'll see what he thinks.
Maybe
You're
just like a
hey,
highlight reel.
Here you go, buddy. Edit this, and he's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck did you give me?"
It's just like, we'll just do cuts of like, all right, Emily, join, and like cut to me like looking over her shoulder.
I love that.
Uh,
It's all just like 5 minutes of like good quality like gameplay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how we played. So
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Emily's like not getting to play because she got kicked out of the game, and then not getting to play because we skipped her turn.
And then my
Again and
character was
again.
drunk.
Yeah,
and skipping her turn then.
My, yeah.
Uh,
love it.
were there any other games maybe that we thought weren't good? I don't know. I feel like for me, even though like I would refuse to talk to somebody at the end of the evening, like we would still come back to it. It was like we were, a glutton for like punishment or gluttons for punishment coming back to a game that we were like, oh, like so livid about.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. I really don't have any games that I would consider bad.
I'm trying to think of even
Yeah.
like board, like physical games that I wouldn't go back to, but I'd go to all of them.
Yeah.
Even Monopoly. Like, I feel like it'll be like 4 or 5 years and I'll think, oh, I haven't played Monopoly in ages. Let's play. And then I play and it's like, oh, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even though I don't play it that much, I always end up going back eventually.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you almost forget how like bad that last time was and you just
Yeah.
block it out of your memory until you're playing it again.
Exactly.
Did you have any Clay? Or no?
No, I don't think all the games that I've played have translated pretty well. But even like board games, I guess, like for our household,
Like ours? Like,
yeah, like
Me
you
and
and
you.
I,
oh no.
I would like to play chess more, or at least try it out again.
I just don't have the
Um,
attention span. I
Oh,
know
me
we
neither.
tried.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah,
I'll try it. I'll try it again for you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's like the only game that I liked playing as a kid and stuff a lot, but I just haven't played it in years. And I kind of want to. I know there's like digital chess to like play online against random people and stuff. So maybe I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, maybe.
But that itch has been needing to be scratched.
Someone posted the thing. They're like, "How do I get better at online chess to impress this person?" And they're like, "Oh, start a game with the computer, and then start a game with your friend, and then whatever game move they make against the computer."
Yeah.
So I immediately
Nice.
started a game with that person, but I didn't cheat and I got creamed. I am so bad at chess, like so bad at. I'm not good at looking at all of the possibilities and consequences for my action in that game or in real life.
Oh no.
Like I'll be like, if I move here, no matter where they go, I get their horsey. And then I make the move, and then they get my queen, and the
Then it's
horsey
game
doesn't
over.
seem so important.
Oh.
Now I really want like a Pokemon chess set, and the knight is a
Ooh, there's the
horsey.
Zelda one that's really cool
Obviously.
too.
Oh, is there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a Pokemon one, but now there needs to be.
Right.
There might be one on Etsy for like a couple $1,000s. $1,000.
They got to do that, but with Pikachu and Eevee now, since Eevee's like their second new mascot, they could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King on one side and Pikachu is the king on the other.
That'd be cute.
All the evolutions on one side and then just a bunch
Yes.
of Pikachus on the other side.
All the Pikachu clones.
No,
just looking
Pikachu's with all the little hats.
Yeah, there
Oh
you
my
go.
God.
Ash's hat and Santa hat. And,
Patent it right
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
Put it
Patent
in.
it, Nintendo. We'll have this lawsuit.
They all come
which
for
Pikachu
us.
is this? Which was that?
That's so
Cool.
funny.
Awesome. That is it for our main topic for the night. We're going to take a game break, and we're going to play Video Game Taboo, Couples Edition. So it's going to be me and Emily versus Alex and Clay. Emily, would you like to be the describer or the guesser?
I will be the describer.
That's probably for the best. And then, do you guys want to go first so that Emily can get a visual idea of what's going on?
I suppose will be nice.
Sure. Sure.
She's watched us play it several times, but I just,
I played
I just
it
wanted to know
once.
how many to beat. She did play it. Shh.
Don't you shush me.
Don't tell them. You
Okay,
guys go first.
can I be the describer, I guess? And also, we need a timer, right? How much is the timer for?
Oh, 90 seconds. I'll get that.
90 seconds? Okay.
Oh, I wish I had Nathan's. Hey, listen.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Nathan's in chat.
Nathan.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
He's the.
Said
I'm him, and he's also him. So he's the one
Oh,
that I'm
okay,
not looking
okay.
forward to editing.
I thought that was you, Jeff, being
No.
like coy.
Well, I'm
I
not.
guess.
I'm still nervous, but that is Nathan. and
Jeff
that
looks
is-
at the chat. What the? I didn't type that. I've been drinking Pepsi, not. funny.
Perfect. I mean, you
Okay.
don't know what's in this Pepsi. So you guys will go
That's
first.
Yes.
Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when to hit start.
Hit start now.
Oh, I'm guessing. Okay.
Okay, the sequel just came out. It's pretty expensive. I was commenting about it earlier today. It's a spooky game. You're super tiny.
Little Nightmares 2.
Cool. I am doing this Let's Play very exclusively on my Patreon right
Final
now.
Fantasy 7 Remake.
Awesome. This is a game with cars, and you get really mad at it, and I hate that you play it, but you still play
Rocket
it.
League.
Yes. You had gotten me this game, and I played it for a little bit, but you're this like little character,
Ni no Kuni.
and no, it starts with an R.
Starts
For the
with an
PlayStation
R.
4.
Rhyme.
Yes. This was a game that was remade. It is one of the out in space kind of games. It's super big. Disney owns it. It's the second game.
It's in
super.
space.
Yes. What does Disney own right now?
Kingdom Hearts 2.
In space.
You
Darth
Aaron
Vader.
Space. Oh,
Luke
Battlefront 2.
Skywalker. Yes. Okay. You drink out of a.
Cup.
Okay.
Cuphead.
Yes, good. And then this was a game that Nathan had recommended to Jeff. Nathan had recommended to Jeff.
Who cares?
It's an anime girl, something.
Genshin Impact.
No,
Genshin Impact.
no. They're really cute little schoolgirls. They're in a book extracurricular of
Doki Doki
sorts.
Literature Club.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And then the other one that I skipped was it's opposite of light.
And time.
Darkness.
No, it's Dark Souls.
Dang it.
Dark Souls Prepare to Die
You
edition.
got 7
How was I
though.
gonna? Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Cool.
Is that the full title of the Dark Souls
Yeah,
Prepare
Dark
to Die
Souls
edition?
Prepare to Die edition.
Jesus.
Dark Souls,
I know.
Inigo Montoya title.
Yeah, I didn't know how to explain Star Wars without like saying it's a Star Wars game, but you got it. So
Thank
I guess
you.
I could have said EA, but challenge everything.
Oh, I love that old.
I know, me too.
All right. So I'm gonna set the timer for us.
got this.
Emily, tell me when to go.
Okay, go. Okay, this game is like Tetris, but it's with it's me, and it's got like
Dr. Mario.
hills. Yes, it's your favorite game ever,
Final Fantasy 7.
but the this one is like you go in the water and you have a base and you're scuba diving and there's giant fish that try to eat you. We saw
Abzu?
we
No.
saw Diego play this once when we visited your mom.
Oh, I forgot what it's called. What's it rhyme with?
Okay. I don't know. Anyways, this one was Alex and Clay's Give It an Hour for the last episode.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
No, the one that they
Oh,
played.
Overcooked.
Yes. Okay. This one is the Japanese gangster game.
Yakuza.
Yakuza.
0.
No.
1, 2,
No.
3. Yakuza
There's
4.
a name.
Yakuza. Oh. Can you give me a hint to the name?
No, I don't know. Okay, so there's the the game with zombies that we played. It's I think the Rockstar game where you have to choose like who to feed with the children.
Oh, The Walking Dead?
Except it's The Walking Dead. And then
New
some
Frontier?
name. No.
400 Days?
No.
2?
No.
The final season?
I don't know. Okay.
Time.
Okay, so it was Subnautica,
Oh, yeah, I should have
Yes.
known that.
Yakuza Kiwami.
I was gonna say it's the Japanese word.
Oh no, really? And The Walking Dead Michonne.
Oh,
Michonne?
okay, that was one of the seasons, and it was
Oh, Michonne,
Telltale, but that's
yeah.
close. I appreciate the effort. What did we not get to?
We did not get to Sekiro, The Shadows Die Twice, or the Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Oh.
How many did we get? Three?
4.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, we got
I got
3.
So
Oh,
Final
okay, I
Fantasy
think I
VII
held up.
Remake we got.
Uh-huh.
Got Dark Mario, Final Fantasy, and Overcooked. We almost got
Yakuza.
Kiwami.
Yakuza and The Walking Dead.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so
That's right. It's a good one.
that wasn't bad. That wasn't
That was
bad.
a good
We'll
one.
work on it. We'll work. Maybe it'll be better.
Best.
Like,
You did.
I'm trying to figure out if it'll be better if I could just get Emily to say the individual words and then put them together.
Act it out,
Yeah.
charades.
But what does Subnautica rhyme with?
That's a solid point.
I'm gonna look it up. Rhymezone.com.
Nubsautica.
Rhyme zone. Let's see.
I feel like that's too close to saying the name, though.
Automata.
Yeah.
Tamata.
And it'd be like
Oh,
near.
hang
Near
on.
goes-
Subnautica. It just no perfect rhymes were found.
It's
See,
kinda like
Jeffrey?
Aquatica, but
Marijuanica. Hanukkah.
there you go.
Subnautica Hanukkah.
Oh my god.
All right, so we got spanked.
Yep.
So
Just
we're
like Tori.
we're we're gonna move on to our last segment, which was Give It an Hour. Last week, Nathan and I talked about playing the pedestrian, but instead, for our topic today, we wanted to go and play a digital board game together, and we played Talisman. I had to look over at the physical one Emily has right over there.
Yeah.
A game that Emily has not played in 8 years. Alex
At
played for
least.
90 minutes and said she did not get, and then me and Clay downloaded it and did nothing else. And this was our experience. Alex, why don't you start us off?
So, with being digital, there was the issue of trying to make sure that we were all in the same lobby, and internet is wonky, and so we were having some issues trying to all get in, and it was kind of a mess in that sense. But I think once we kind of got the hang of it, the game immediately just threw you in. Once you were in that like private room, I guess the game had just assumed that you had already had that tutorial. So we were just kind of like, it's a good thing that Alex played this for like 90 minutes before.
No.
Otherwise we would be like, ugh. And I did that because I knew that I was going to have a hard time understanding everything and remembering everything. So I'm surprised that I even did remember anything. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, I think the little that we did play, like all of the 2 minutes that we played,
Yeah.
it was still a lot of fun. But I think I would rather just make the drive to you guys and just play this in person, when this is all over.
Yeah.
Because these games, they tend to have a different kind of feel and sort of magic when they're played, just at a table, everybody like has a drink and you're all just vibing and having fun. So
Yeah.
that was the experience for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Emily, as a former player, give us your thoughts.
Well, I'm wondering, like, if there is a tutorial that we could have done. Not that we had time,
Yeah.
but like, it really just like you start the game and it's like, roll the dice, do this, and like there's no explanation for what's going on. And I feel like a lot of the beauty of the mechanics of the game are lost when you don't know why things are happening the way they are. But yeah, I definitely prefer, at least from this experience, I prefer, like the meat space version where you're at a table with your friends, like Alex was saying. Because I remember loving this game, and when I got it, I made like everyone I could play with me. So I'm looking forward to quarantine ending so that I can play with you and other people. I will make everyone play with me again.
I was thinking Nathan's area is a good middle space for all of us. So like, You guys
Yes.
coming up and then us going down, and Nathan has to do nothing. We could make it like further east so that he has to move at least a little bit.
Just move
Gotta
this
make it
chair
work
over.
for
I
it.
know. Like, we know it'd be convenient to go to where you live, but we're going to make it a little weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it work just a little bit.
Clay, what were your thoughts of our playthrough?
I thought I like the mechanics a lot because the way that it plays is you land on a space and then a random thing happens based on the card that's drawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of liked where it was like, all right, it's 1 through 6, and you roll 1 through 3, and this thing happens. You roll 4, and this thing happens. I thought stuff like that was fun, and it was neat, like having the dice and seeing on the screen for everyone's roll. But I think it's like Alex said, it's one of those things where like if you're sitting there and you're like, like the tension, you throw it, and everyone just watches like the dice in the middle, and like there's always that one person that leans over, and like yells out loud, and like it's just the clamoring between people would be a lot of fun in person. And I think they captured it pretty decently. There's just no... It's like Emily said, if there was a tutorial that we missed, it probably would have been better to go back later, but I definitely want to give it another chance when we have more of like an established way to like learn it and then actually play it.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was actually fun though. I enjoyed the parts that we did get going when we were doing it.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I have a hard time looking at a book of instructions and then going to play the game. Like, I either need someone who knows how to play the game with me. Actually, that is exactly what I need. But the thing that I really liked about it is it didn't give us like explicit instructions on what we're doing or why we're doing it. But it was a nice like, here are your options of what to do right now. And so the first game, I probably wasn't going to win because I didn't have any general understanding of the game. But at least with the computer guidance, I wasn't just like asking like, what do I do next? I'm like, oh, I could roll the dice. Oh, I could stay here, or I could roll again and lose. It looks like I lost something of the purple. I don't know what that affects. But eventually we were able to figure out that it was fate, I think. And you only get a limited number of those. And then I think Alex mentioned, oh, if you go back to your starting point, it refills. So it was nice to have that guidance along the way. And like, this is obviously a very different time, so we're not going to be able to play in the same room for the near future. I think it was a great way for all of us to experience something different together. In a different way, because like, I'm glad we have this podcast and I'm glad we have video games, but it was nice because it did kind of feel like sitting around the coffee table playing a game with you guys.
A little,
It just
was
had
a nice
little
change
bit
of pace.
Yeah, it just had a little bit more guidance. And like a board game as opposed to a video game is where we could focus more on each individual person when it's their turn or in between turns instead of having to worry about constantly fighting as you're going through the game. So I thought it, like, I think as Emily said, it was a really good change of pace for other games that you could be playing. Like, it did feel like playing a board game. But there are, on the other hand, aren't the gray areas where you could start making up rules or allowing things to happen. We had a lot of trouble because depending on which room you are in this house, you don't get internet. And Emily got booted out of the game, and we couldn't figure out how to get her back in. Like, in real life, we'd be like, oh, you can't fit in, I'll just scoot over there and you could sit with us. But it was the biggest, it was like, you'll come back on the next turn, and then like 3 turns later, Emily still couldn't get in.
Nope.
And it's just hard to troubleshoot something like that online as opposed to in person. Or if you're playing Uno, like I heard one of the rules is like, you can't play a wild on a wild, but of course everyone in person will play, like, I play this wild, and they're like, well, here's a wild draw 4, I reverse it. So it sucks to not have that freedom to make the game you want. You're like, no, these are your only options. This is the way you have to play.
Yeah, no house rules.
Forcing you.
Yeah, so there is that limitation, but I still had a good time, and I think if I could have planned it in a way where we had more time to do it together, I think it could have been, like, by the end of the game, I think we all would have had a good understanding, and by game 2, we could have played it well.
Yeah.
So maybe next time...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to maybe start with a game that we've all played next time. But, like, it was also hard because Emily has a Mac, and, like, very few games were Mac
compatible.
Right.
Even this one was giving me trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was such a pain. I wanted to add something really quick. When you could zoom in onto the board, did you
Yeah.
notice that like as you got close to the tavern, you could hear like, drinks being like clanked and like you could
No.
hear like people talking.
Oh my
I thought that
God.
was really neat. And like
That
when
is
you would roll the
neat.
dice, it sounded like, die being like just casted out onto this like wooden table. It made it feel like, especially with the headphones, like I could hear it like move around and it was like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. That's really
It was
cool.
neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we'll
think
have to try it
also
again. Go ahead.
also what you're saying, Jeff, was yeah, you kind of lose that house aspect, but it was also kind of nice because it's not like like the first time you ever play a game like that, you're sitting there with the rules. Okay, what does that square do? And you have to like flip through the book
Yeah.
and be like, okay, what are these options? When it was just like, oh, you can auto lose this turn.
Yeah.
Or auto kill, Jeff. What do you?
Or
Oh my
auto-kill,
gosh.
assassinate,
Yeah, or like-
pop up stuff like that.
Uh,
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
those-
Or with
Go ahead,
with
Emily.
some of the more complicated games, there are like multiple things you can do on your turn. And like if you're playing in real life, it's easy to like forget to do this or forget to do that. And if you're playing like digitally, it'll prompt you like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So that's nice too. Because I tend to like with like D&D and the more complicated games, I tend to forget some of the little things that you can do. So that's nice for me.
yeah.
Yeah. It's nice just having the booklet kind of built into the game for you so that you don't have to remember all these things that, that you're not going to remember, especially with a short attention span.
Yup.
I think in a brief post show, we should go through games that you guys know and that we know, because like they're all on sale on Steam right now, and maybe pick up a couple that we could play in the future. Because there was a couple that you named, Alex, that sounded really interesting just by name only.
Yes.
And then like they're like $4 right now. That's the other benefit. Like Pandemic, the board game, is $4 right now, and we bought it for $40.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were
so-
just saying this too.
Yeah, like we each have to own a copy, which sucks, but
It's-
like you could play it. It's so much more accessible than going in and like buying one.
Yeah.
Of course, then they had the expansions, like they were talking about in Kind of Funny Games. They were talking about Cluedo, which it is,
saw
and
that.
you could get like $40 worth of like
Oh my
dressings for the
God.
board game and like themes, or like someone's like, oh, you can get Moriarty as a playable character for $4. Like it's so like they monetize it that way. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am definitely interested in doing this again for a different kind of game night.
Cool. That's
Uh,
exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So that is going to wrap it up for the main show today. You could find me, Zabadabadoo, everywhere. My Instagram will be open again, my new one this week. You could also find me on the GG app at Zabadabadoo. I finished inputting all of my games. And
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot. There was so many. But I love it. It's a really good app, and I hope more people get into it. So I'm just following people I don't know now, just so I can see other games. Emily, where can they find you?
You can find me just about everywhere. Poke Starwind. But Twitter is where I am the most.
Awesome. Clay, what about you?
I am on Twitter as Claydo's Tweets. And that'll be the hub for everything else. That'll be mine going forward. Yeah, so find me
Awesome.
there.
And lastly, Alex?
I am on everything too. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. I have my own podcast on there if you want to go check it out. But yeah, I talk a little bit more in depth about the GG app. So if you're a little bit curious, you can listen there and see if it's something that you want to dive into. But Tapao, yeah, everywhere. TOWPOWYEA. Jeff is doing a little dance as I'm
I got a
saying
shoulder
that.
shuffle for it now.
It's like a little little shimmy. But yeah, that's where you can find me. You can find all my stuff there.
Love it. And then I heard you had a major announcement on the latest episode.
Yes.
Have you already released that?
I haven't. That's coming tomorrow. So,
So by the time you're listening to this,
yes,
it'll
it'll
be
already
up.
be live.
awesome. That's super exciting.
So that's going to be announced on Patreon, and then the general public will have access to it closer to the end of the month, and that's all I'm saying.
Good.
Yeah.
Surprises.
I'm going to say I robbed you guys of a pre-announcement. She was like, should I share it on the pod? I'm like, no.
No,
They
you
should
made-
have to
you
go
made a
to the
good point,
Patreon.
though. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, but I'm excited to find out. I admittedly have not listened to the last episode yet. It was a rough week at work.
Today.
Shame.
But
It was excellent.
but now I get back to back, which is the best part.
Ooh, nice.
So that's exciting. For Backlog, I almost said cliche this. That was weird. For Backlog and Beyond, you could find us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Twitter's Backlog Beyond. And other social media sites. You can find us all over there. We have our own Discord. I unmuted it, so I'm responding to messages now.
Nice.
And you can reach us on all of those. Thank you guys for coming out. Next week, or hopefully longer, I don't know when Nathan will be back. Hopefully next week, because I've been stressing about getting all the audio stuff right, and I've been told in the chat that I'm being repeated, so I will fix that in post.
That's all right, buddy.
Thank you all for coming out. 5, 6, 7, 8. I realized I didn't have a joke, so I was like, oh.